The car PG type of game has been around for as long as I can remember, with entries like the once dominating Need for Speed, Test Drive, Midtown Madness, and the genre's more recent king of the ring with the Forza Horizon series. If you are a fan of the series and these type of games, then you'll know that Forza Horizon 6 is drawing ever closer, and this got me thinking. There was another great contender in this space with the Crew Motorfest. So, why don't we compare the pair and see who comes out on top? Both games are open world driving festival type games, enabling the players to pick and choose their own type of driving adventure that they would like to participate in. To accurately compare the two games, we need to establish some criteria. So I will measure the games based on my experiences as follows. On a steering wheel setup, on a controller, the game offering, reward system, audio and sound effects while playing through the game, map and how this is used, multiplayer accessibility, and avatar customization. With those plans in place, let's strap in and kick this into gear. On a steering wheel. So for this test, I'll be using the Fanatec Direct Drive Pro with the McLaren GT3 wheel combined with the CSL Elite pedals. So let's start out with Motorfest. Right away, the game is very responsive. Cars are manageable, but if you're used to more in-depth or detailed sim racing games like iRacing or Gran Turismo 7, or the likes of, don't expect the level of accuracy in the fidelity of the car's handling. When passing through NPC traffic at high speeds, creating a near-miss event, you'll get a bit of a death wobble sensation effect translating through the steering wheel. Now, if you're not sure what the death wobble is, if you've ever ridden a skateboard and gone down a hill too fast and have felt the board under your feet wobbling you out of control, and you try to grip the board with your toes and pray you don't eat some concrete while moving at Mach 9, well, that's the death wobble effect. So you'll either survive it or you won't. Cars are surprisingly easy to slide with a level of control when moving through the world. It's as simple as approach a corner with a decent amount of speed, take your foot off the accelerator and pass the apex and smash your foot down again. In slower speeds, I did notice the car feels more weighted, like I'm having to exert a bit more force through the wheel to get it to turn. However, in slower speeds, what I also notice is a change in surface materials translate through the wheel. Like when coming off the road into dirt or gravel, the wheel feels bumpy and sends small jolts of vibrations to simulate that effect. The gearing and braking points don't feel accurate when driving around in manual, so again, if you're used to more accurate games, this experience will throw you out a little bit. When traveling at high speeds and you have to hit the brake hard, the car is near uncontrollable and it's tough to recover. And as I was changing through gears, I felt there was a bit of an excessive delay from my gear input to how the game translated the response. And maybe that's to simulate a manual stick shift gearbox, I'm not sure, but it felt a little disconnected from the whole experience. A really odd and new experience for me was when you're in control of your avatar in the game, and to make the character walk, you do this with the accelerator, which makes actual perfect sense, but it was a weird experience driving a human. Now, let's go to Forza Horizon 5. Immediately, I noticed that the steering felt needlessly heavy, super saturated coming through the wheel, so moving the car meant a consistent effort to maintain control of the car. The manual gearbox in Forza felt a lot more manageable though, and responsive to my inputs, with the gearing input changes happening a lot more immediately than they were in Motorfest. When having a near-miss event with NPC traffic in Forza Horizon 5, there was no death wobble effect taking place, meaning there was no additional force being imposed on the wheel. If I swooped past an unsuspecting NPC car, I wasn't being sent out of control. I did find when at high speeds, it is super easy to lose control of the car, and you really have to pay attention to your wheel rotation to ensure you don't overdo it. Otherwise, you'll end up going into kangaroo mode and start hopping right off the track. Let's dive into the controller. Here's what I noticed in Motorfest. Personally, I wouldn't bother with a manual gearbox. Automatic is where the game really comes to shine. Braking at speed is controllable, and using the brake and accelerate buttons to manipulate the car movement through tight spaces just feels a lot more effortless and intuitive. Passing cars to trigger a near miss event just vibrates the controller as opposed to our death wobble sensation that we felt on the wheel. Controlling slides is amazingly easy and adds a whole new layer of fun while just traversing through the map, making the cornering experience a lot more fun and minimal frustration. Dedicated drift gameplay though takes a bit of getting used to. You need to find a steering angle sweet spot to make it last. Surface textures are not as noticeable though, but honestly, do you really care that much? What that means on a controller is you just won't accelerate as fast. Over to Forza Horizon 5, this is where Horizon really comes to life, and to me it feels like this game is designed for a controller. Steering still feels needlessly heavy on a controller in terms of delay in steering response, but the controller will vibrate under heavy braking relative to the amount of the ABS system has to work, and will also vibrate at loss of traction, which gives me a nice tactile feedback sensation. When you totally lose control of the car, it is still a struggle to regain control, but it's not totally impossible. It might take you a few goes to really feel out your car and get the hang of it. In the game offering, with the Crew Motorfest, open world, multiplayer festival style game, dynamic, weather changing systems with a day or night cycle in the game, multiplayer driving events which consist of your typical race, which is of course your typical circuit race or sprint experience, a drag race, I mean the name really speaks for itself, drive in a straight line while crunching through gears at the right time to go fast, drift, sliding, and maintain the slide in order to build up points. Build as many points as you can before the timer hits 0. Time attack, your typical race against the clock, beat the time and you win. And speed parkour, so combine racing and drifting, go fast, go sideways, drive over jumps, and get creative to rack up points. Different types of vehicles are available though within Motorfest, so from a car perspective, well, I mean, we really get, it's the obvious, right? We've got cars. It's a very impressive array of cars at that you're able to play with through the game with the likes of street cars, supercars, hypercars, race spec and F1 cars, off-road cars and drift cars. But that's not all that's available. There are planes in the game. There are also boats and motorbikes. Switching over to Forza Horizon, again, it's an open world festival style game with seamless multiplayer. It has dynamic weather and day and night cycles. Game events can be done in co-op with your friends or against rivals, which I thought was kind of cool, as if my kids were to play, we could all participate in races together. Or if you have a drivatar rival in a close family member or a friend, you can include them into the mix to see how you stack up. Multiple driving events are on offer with the following: road racing, dirt, cross country, street racing, drag racing, and showcases. Now, the showcase, this event is by far my favorite type, and these take the most ludicrous, insane things and pits you into a race. So, if you're familiar with any of the Forza Horizon games, you know exactly what I'm talking about, like racing against monster trucks, or racing against a plane which drops out motocross riders which you need to compete with. The reward system. The reward system in Motorfest are playlist and event based. Complete the events within the playlist to earn money and car parts, and complete the playlist to unlock a car. The currency system has a difficulty multiplier, meaning the harder you make it, when you win, the more you earn. So really, how much you make per event is really on how much you want to test your limits. As mentioned previously, as you compete events, you'll also earn car parts, which allow you to enhance your favorite car's performance, which can be done anywhere on the fly by hitting the pause button. In here, you can also alter the balance settings on the car to adjust the transmission, which will impact top speed against acceleration. You can also adjust your brake balance to your preferred settings to be more at the front or rear dominant, depending on your liking, to name a few of these settings. As cars are enhanced and upgraded, you can see how close they are to their maximum in the top right hand corner with the performance level. Switching over to Horizon 5, Similarly, in Horizon 5, you earn money for events and earn XP. This XP builds up until you reach a level. And when you do hit the next level of the game gives you a wheel spin which you can use right away or you can bank it for later. Wheel spins will reward you with currency, cars, and customization items for your avatar within the game. You also have access to car mastery points, which allow you to spend on your favorite and most used cars. These are buffs which can give you multipliers like increasing the XP you earn for drifting, or it takes 2 points of damage to drop a score multiplier as opposed to 1, allowing you to invest and buff your cars. You get these points to spend on car mastery by completing activities around the map like speed zones, drift zones, and just plain old simple events you get from driving around. You can also upgrade the performance and customize your cars by manually selecting the parts you want to upgrade. Or, if you have a stupid amount of currency in the game and don't want to waste time, you can do this the fast way and allow the game to determine what parts you need to extract the performance you're asking from it. The performance is based on a number system. As the number system gets higher, the letter rating of the car changes. The upgrades here can only be done at a Forza Horizon festival, which you can fast travel to through the menu, but if you upgrade before an event, then you're going to have to reset to the Forza festival, which means you might have a bit of a ways to drive before you can start your event. Now, the audio effects. Let's start again with Motorfest. Cars sound accurate to what the cars would sound like in the real world, keeping in mind the modified sounds are assumed, but you can hear the difference between what it was and what you've upgraded it to. The tires screeching is generic, but it's applied at the right spots, and when you would expect to hear the tires squealing for their lives, like when you're searching for grip through corners or in the event of a burnout. Engine revving sound is appropriate to the rate of speed the car is traveling, which is great because imagine if the car was going absolute balls to the wall and it sounded like it was idling. That would totally ruin my day. It's a simple one, but the echo effect when entering tunnels. I love that this is here. And it's in most games now, but it just adds to the overall experience. In Forza Horizon 5, we're seeing much of the same. Engine sounds are accurate and appropriate to the speed of the car is traveling, and the tyres are right on the money with how they are punished when driving or losing control of the car. Onto the map. In Motorfest, the world map is an aerial view satellite style map reflecting of weather and time of day. Interestingly though, this map shows us real-time locations of other drivers within the game and what type of vehicle and direction of travel that they are in within your game session. Map icons can be filtered to show specific criteria, and outside of this there is an AI GPS called Kara. The map events you will find in the world are slalom, speed traps, jumps, runaway, and acrobatic events for planes. In Horizon 5, we have a live update map, which is in the more traditional style of the static paper magazine type of map, which does show where other driver tars are on the map, which direction they're heading in, and what type of vehicles they are using. The map will show all event types, which again can be filtered, and based on what type of events you as the player would like to focus on. Optional mini events are also included on the map, such as drift zones, speed traps, jumps, barn finds, and reward boards. Now, the amount of activities which will show up on the Horizon map at any given point can be frustrating and visually overwhelming with the amount of icons which will populate the screen. And of course, we have an AI GPS companion of Anna to assist us on our travels through Horizon, with the added little function of the link for player interaction. Multiplayer. In Motorfest, it is easy to add and join with friends through the menu. See and join players that are with you in the same game session, and does come with what's called a crew pass, which allows you to extend an invite to your friends to play with you even if they don't own the game. Similarly, in Horizon 5, we have easy to access multiplayer from the menu to do challenges and events, and can interact with players and drivatars in the open world and free roam. Avatar customization. So with Motorfest, we have generic head selection with preset hairstyles and hair color and preset eye colors, and does have a variety of wardrobe options from casual clothes all the way to racing gear available to be equipped. With Horizon 5, We have a very similar to that model of Motorfest, but goes a little bit further on the inclusive scale with prosthetics, hearing aids, and a wide variety of clothing options. And you also have the additional option of buying property in Horizon 5. Okay, now all that said and done, here are my thoughts on the below. On a steering wheel, while there are pros and cons in both sides of the fence, to me, Forza takes this one purely based on responsiveness of the manual gearbox and the lack of emulated death wobbles, so the winner here for me is Forza Horizon 5. On controller, right out of the box, I have to give this one to Motorfest. The response to steering didn't feel as weighted in Motorfest, and I just enjoyed it. However, what got me close to handing this over to Forza Horizon was the drift mechanic on controller. It just felt weird, whereas Forza was a lot more easier to maintain, and by the skin of its teeth, Motorfest took out the controller title. The game offering. The game offering between the two games is incredibly similar, with Motorfest offering a little more than cars. The two different approaches, I found that Motorfest has a bit of an educational approach, taking the player through some history and some knowledge about the cars that they are driving, which was really interesting to hear while you are blasting through a racetrack. But for Horizon, it kind of had a player engagement approach, by having NPCs talking smack and engaging you, giving you a reason to win, and honestly I enjoyed both approaches equally, but on a technicality, Motorfest isn't just cars, so Forza Horizon 5 here is the winner. The reward system in both games is similar in terms of the end of race events, but Forza gives you a little more with the wheel spins and the ability to level up your chosen car independently with the car mastery system, giving you that additional element of the car PG. So again, Forza Horizon 5 takes this one out. Audio effects. These are a much of muchness in terms of how these were applied to the games, and I would say they're about on equal footing, so I'll score this one equally to both Motorfest and Horizon 5. On the maps. For maps, and maybe it's just me, but my personal preference was the map from Motorfest. I didn't feel as cluttered on the screen as tensely as what Horizon 5 did, and I actually appreciated the live satellite view aspect. So Motorfest is going to take out the win for the map. Multiplayer. The ease of use for the multiplayer in both games is incredibly simple, but the seamlessness of Horizon 5 pulls this over the line, but only just. I really like the idea of the friend pass that Motorfest has, allowing you to invite some friends into the game even if they don't own the game. But in terms of ease of fluidity, Forza Horizon 5 is the clear winner here. Avatar customization. While both games are incredibly similar, in this area I give it a nil score for both parties purely because it's a car PG in my mind, and the avatar isn't really a requirement. You spend more time here looking at other players' automotive creativity than you do with their avatars in the game. Now that all that's said and done, in my humble opinion, Forza Horizon is still king of the car PG in the current climate, but kudos to Motorfest, as that has some amazing features in it, and as an automotive enthusiast I really enjoyed, especially by adding the history into the game to give the player further insight into the car you're driving from the events. Other things which for me that made Forza Horizon stand out were the jumps. During jumps through the showcase events, or just really big jumps in general, the game slows down, but free camera mode is enabled, which gives the player time to look around the car and scenery through different angles to truly appreciate the pure level of insanity that's taking place at the time. Another key takeaway for me was the music. Both games have great music offerings for the radio station, but Forza Horizon 5 had the Architects and Bring Me the Horizon, and that just made my experience that much more enjoyable. All in all though, both games are fantastic in what they are aiming to achieve, and I think if you decided on either one to jam by yourself or with some mates, you're in for a great time. Until next time, remember to live and let drive.